The passing show's idea is just to lay down a little ongoing documentation, primary documentation, who, what, when, and where. In this case, we're at Meridian Hill Park. It's a Sunday afternoon, 11/9/2025. We are full 9 years out from 11/9/2016, which was election day. And by the evening, we had a pretty clear idea that Donald J. Trump had won the election for president of the United States, much to everyone's surprise, and even his own. I recommend people watch Fahrenheit 11/9 if you haven't already and get an idea of the root cause analysis done there. May or may not be entirely accurate, but it's probably more accurate than what you think happened. It has some serious issues. Rhythms being laid down by Joan of Arc statue. On dark. What someone can achieve when they believe. Did you review? Is that what I see? So this is your population of Washington, D.C., local area. I'm going to descend these stairs carefully. Feeling pretty good, actually. I'm taking more than one step at a time. Unusually good for me. Now we're going to ramble on down to U Street. I might take in a little bit of what's happening down there right now. There's usually live music to be found. A lot of different ways to go, but this is mine of the moment. It's nice to smell the oxygen from the plants around me. I know that humanity is continuing in spite of the government shutdown. We could get tied up in that pretty easily. I think that a lot of us are trying to make sense of the world we live in to the best of our ability. And it's confusing, quite frankly. We can't tell all the time exactly what the ins and outs of things are. Make my way here. And I think we're going to go up rather than down right away. Let's see where this leads. A few steps up. Beautiful crepe myrtles. I love how they color in the fall, how they color in the spring. That's a lot of color. Washington, D.C., one of the little side streets here, road less traveled, as it were. Folks-owned apartment in Sage is the building. Twisted around here, there's a skateboarder. Wide range of different domiciles about. Speed hump ahead. And the road drops down to 14th Street, I believe. See through the gap there. The ways changing colors of the plants. Hostas, I believe. Pansy still adding a splash of yellow and purple. Oh, there's another view. Looking down. This is Stone Park condos next to an older home. Porcelain berry, I think. Weed. Ooh, a beautiful piece of artwork. Resist in the window. Yeah. So there are lots of different levels of resistance that one can engage in. Milestone apartments. Keep on walking. Listen to those guys shooting the breeze. They seem to have some pretty strong opinions about something. I could hear the agitation, but I couldn't really hear what the subject matter was. Did hear a mention of police. And it's difficult. Sounded like they might have been talking about one of their acquaintances who may or may not be in trouble with the police. I don't know. Not really my business. But we can observe the passing show and know that there are a lot of people who live in fear in one way or the other of each other. And that's unfortunate. Oh, we have Fiani, that woman has joined. And that's it. You and me. I was doing a little passing show earlier that had about 4 or 5 people logged in besides me. And that's always nice, but I don't mind. The point of this is not for us. It's for legacy, what we can leave to the future of evidence of who, what, when, and where. This is Celia, pretty interesting building. There are a lot of retail spaces and mixed use. You can see there number of apartment buildings, condos, whatever. We're going to turn on 14th Street and head down that way. I don't know how far we'll get. Now I'm at 65% power, and I'll probably cut it at like 50 so I can retain some for my longer walking. Lucy is the big sign there. Cocktails, pizza. What else I got? Beer and wine. This place is 7-Eleven. Is that what I've got here? Yeah, 7-Eleven. Well stocked. Shows what's up with 7-Eleven there. You have cigarettes. I used to smoke, but I stopped. $13 for a pack of cigarettes. It's amazing. Quite astonishing. Sun setting. Won't be too late. Late enough. Hear a shouter down the way. That's often the case. Looks like I can get across here. Florida Liquors. Must be on Florida Street. That's my home street. Lifted Essentials. I know it's
days that
my pajamas. That's lost a tree here recently. I think got younger ones planted. Some oaks, thirst lounge, checking IDs. Bank of America. ATM machine there. Tate. Patisserie. And we are now at W Street with an aim towards you, probably cutting back on you, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Never know what I'm going to do. And it's just you and me still. Kafiani, that woman joined. Lost your Substack. Had to restart it. I understand. And your son is just turned 24? It's quite a milestone. 2001. You were 15 years old, huh? Or 16? Yep. I was in my 30s then and turned 39 in 2002. Tulsa de Mar, Spain. Good place to do it. I had a lot of good opportunities in my life. And I'm really grateful to be here in Washington, D.C. now, sort of seeing out my later years in the midst of everything. I'm woven into it, not tightly, really attached to nothing and connected to everything. That's the way I look at it. We're all interwoven. There was a company called Interwoven back in 2002. I don't know if it still exists or not. I should look it up. They wrote a book on content management, and I was heartened to see that the president of my company got a copy. We were little babes in the woods out there in the big old world of content management systems, but we fielded the first one written in C# on the .NET framework. Early adopters. We were accepted into the program by Microsoft Denmark, and one thing led to another, and the company came crashing down in the wake of my layoff, among other things. Kind of wonder if Stina and Eric are still together. My chief technology officer was really responsible for me getting the job. He had a vision, and I was a part of it. And I did what I could to be a part of it. Yeah, it really did help me a lot. You need just somebody like that in your life, who helps you out when things are not looking so bright. And to keep them all close to you, to appreciate them, to show gratitude. It's important. I should look him up and find out where Eric has gotten himself to. I know that one of our developers, Thomas Peterson, I think he got himself to the point where he raced a Ferrari in some event, won. That was nice to see. Owned that car, I believe. And, my hat's off to him. Did a lot of good stuff in his life, I'm sure. And, one of the things that people do is they sort of pull the resources to them. That builds other resources. I just tend to shed my resources and carry myself more lightly. Although, I must say, I've accumulated a fair collection that I may release back out into the world some point soon. Keep our revenues up. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know. So what shall it be? How shall it go? I don't know. I think this way is good. Drunk karaoke, Biolo Lounge. Everyone free, entry all night. Thursday's happy hour, karaoke party. It's Thursdays. What else do we want to talk about? Just the two of us. Well, my wife was wondering what Crush was. I can see that they have a We Are DC thing on back. YOLO Lounge is right next to it. Yeah. Subway. It's the bunker. That's not my bunker. World Pride 2025. Not going anywhere. Okay, that's that bunker. I live in a totally different bunker. And I hold forth from there in a fair amount. Jumbo Pizza across the way. He's all taped up. Used to be Twins Jazz above. Miss that. Got love on their awning now. I remember sitting in there watching the snow fall outside that window years ago. Polar bears. Sheed house next door. Upstairs and what? Highlight. And a lot of places for people to entertain themselves here. A lot of commerce. United Bank. Retail restaurant space available. That's not unusual. Not in this neighborhood anymore. There's so many things are closing down. The economy is taking a hit from the government shutdown for sure. There goes who think that might be a good thing. I don't know, man. That's not how it seems to me. Heading down towards the Lincoln Theater, where Monday, less than a week ago, called Robert Plant, was saving grace. Susie Dean, I think her name was, on accordion and vocals with him. And Robert gave us a great show. Only about 90 minutes long, but that's pretty good for a guy 77 years old. And what an icon, what a humble guy, too, he appears to be. He really hasn't done anything to try to make himself look like he did in the 1960s and 70s. And that's nice. I think he's aged gracefully and graciously. Not too long from now, I'm going to catch Patti Smith at the same place for her book event, Bread of Angels. She was just on the Colbert Show this week talking that up. Woo. Telling the story of herself. And I like to tell the story of myself, too, as part of this passing show and catch the stories of other people. We don't know what we don't know, but we can catch little bits and pieces of people's existences. Everybody is so temporary. You have but this one life that we know of. A lot of people believe in immortality of the mind. I was talking with one of my friends about that earlier. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Coming up on the True Former building with a monument to Duke Ellington. If you don't know Duke's work, check it out. Einstein here. The Civil Smoke Shop. They're open. And the Lincoln Theater. Don't think the theater's open tonight, looks like. Nothing going on. You're going to have a Charlie Brown Christmas December 3rd, bro. That might be nice. I've taken my wife to a few things here. Tom Morello and Friends at an honor high pro improv under his notions. Oh. Hypnocracy. There's a thought. Next to a restaurant bar, loud speakers. Rush bowls, pumpkin spice bowl. Okay. Watch your step down into the saloon, a neighborhood pub. I don't think they're open tonight. Marathon, smoke shop. And we come up to 12th Street. Could go on down to 10th, I think. They're around. Then we'll cross here, though. 26 seconds to cross this way. I'm going to make use of those seconds to get across. See some of the residences in the area. Let's see how we're doing. Turning back to look back up S Street. Sun is setting, scattered clouds, clearing off a good bit. And 27 seconds to get across here. Okay. I'm going to take advantage of that. Go hard past this Dukum Ethiopian restaurant. It's one of the better ones in the area from what I hear. And off we go. Past the market carry out for Dukum. Dine-in, delivery, catering, slices. Yeah. That's the Italian kitchen. Beautiful mural work in the neighborhood. Coming up on 11th Street. Across the way is what was once the Bohemian Caverns. Sorting to Disney Gillespie, the epitome of a jazz club. It's a bit dilapidated now. History years, no, just that. I'm going to try to get across this one. I got about 5 seconds. Whoa. 2 and 0. Keep on pushing down. Inner city night. And come back along Ash Street. See what we see. I'm down to 54% power. That's not bad. And the recording goes on, but not much of a crowd here. Just 5:02 in the evening, about dinner time for most folks, I guess. I say I need to go. I go. No secret police. It's like a Banksy. Very similar, anyway. New Street intersection. America's best wine shop across the way. That rental space. Tends to follow Masonic Temple. Here, a metro entrance. I don't know. Take a metro. Take the green line down to the red line. Come back up along red. It's a possibility. And I think we'll just mosey on down in this direction. This is the African American Civil War Museum. Virtual tour, social media. Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad being advertised there. Black Lives Matters. Pretty nice walk. Got a lot of steps in. I don't know how many, but I got enough. I think it's time to head back home now. Should be there by nightfall. Full sunset. It's just fascinating to look at the architecture around here. Different buildings. It's the National Register of Historic Places there. And probably over there as well. I'm down at T Street. Just a little further down is the Howard Theater. I didn't make it that far. That's sort of what I was aiming for a turning point. I think that's like 9th. On Vermont Street. I might head just down on Vermont for a ways before cutting back over. Or see what we do. About 30 some seconds to cross. It's getting dark enough that the trees aren't popping as brightly as they do in the full sun. Yeah. Yeah, say this. Nice. Very nice. Raise the tipped wage. There's a little bit of a monument there to that. Some sort of advertising on the poles. Beautiful day. Doesn't get much more beautiful than this. See where we end up. So that was Vermont. This is presumably 11th. A little bit of skyscape here. Okay, this is 11th. Means I'm 10 blocks over from my intersection of 21st and S. Here's the right away here. People will. How long? 1, 2, 0. They didn't. Yeah, says. I think we'll head back along here. No need to stretch it out any further. I did it about as well as I could be expected to. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm going to lose something like 20-some thousand steps on Monday. On midnight. Drop me way back. I did my best to get some steps in now. Gotta be up early tomorrow. 4-7 to move the car out of the diplomat spot. The embassy of Moldova. Not want to anger the Moldovans. I have a third. We are 12th. I don't want to guess. My memory is bad. Disagreeable.
I'm it's on a want to talk about that. It's crunchy. And lights out. They're 2 minutes. And smart. It's a good report. You know, Campbell.
Ah, oh, look how Betty writes. She has entered eternity, just shy of 100 years old. Dick Van Dyke's getting there. Looks like closing in on 100 this December, I believe. Long walking. These little houses are set back off the street here. Very lucky to live in this neighborhood. I've been very fortunate overall. The world is a bit absurd. Rosemary plant there, that's huge. Really wow. It's lovely to see the little gardens along the way on S Street here. So I'm coming up on 12th Street, I believe. Yep, no, 13th. That's wonderful. I need to be on that side of the street anyway, so it's a good time to cross. $30. All right. We have a few joining us. That's nice. Patricia Grinnell, Doctor of Psychology. Pretty Kim Castro and Lori Christian have joined. Good to have you with us. That's 4 plus me have joined so far on the Passing Show. We are at the corner of 13th and S Street, about 8 blocks, therefore, from the house. Getting a little evening walk in. Who, what, when, and where in Washington, D.C. A little raw journalism, a little primary documentation for historians to future, potentially. Sounds like an ambulance down below. And so it goes. I like to scan the street next to me as I walk. So many interesting things to see. English basement level apartments. Decorative artwork on the walls. Some cases that looks like a 20s or 30s edition. Beautiful. You know, when I was younger, my sister took some drawing classes and did really well with them. Pretty good artist. She kind of gave up on that, though, at some point in her career. Focused on other things. I don't know. Quite the reader. It's an escape reading. But it's one of the best ones we can have. Way of time binding. Taking other people's experiences, their expressions, making them our own. Something I think about sometimes. But I'm not talking a lot because I don't have a lot of inner monologue going on right now. I am thinking about the vision of the future, the way in which our technologies can be linked together to function more effectively and efficiently, and they can design themselves now to some extent to do just that, to make the greatest happiness and the greatest number be a realizable objective. Utilitarianism on steroids, I'm calling it. There are other things to call it: effective altruism, um, ways in which we all can help each other out. I think Substack is a vehicle for that. And that's one of the reasons I filmed the passing show here and do these musings, is to remind us that Substack is a vehicle. They're not just a place to come and surf and a social network, definitely not a dating app, but a place where we can have an exchange of ideas, of really raw journalism, like I'm doing here with the passing show on Heroines Live with Hal Gill, your host, the corner of 14th and S Northwest, Washington, D.C., debating now which way to go. I could go down towards P Street. I'm kind of tempted to do just that. There are a few reasons for it. There are always a few reasons for everything. I am really not very far at all from the old Trader Joe's, considering that. But no, I think straight on might do.
It's like it starts the dog back.
Straight on might do. Yeah. And an Oyster Fest, November 15th, it looks like, maybe. Posters about that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see where we end up. I think our street is quite fine.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Let's keep on walking. So we can bind our technologies together in ways that make sense for realizing the greatest happiness of the greatest number. Even out the disparity, iniquity that's been built into our systems by design. We've really allowed an awful lot of things to happen. And I think we believe ourselves powerless to do anything about it. I think we've more or less demonstrated the lack of power in ways that are spectacular and ill-advised at best. Looks like football's on TV over there. That's a good distraction from whatever's going on in the passing show. Something about humanity here. Finding my humanity. So the Scots made the modern world. That's one that I gave my father. Ah, okay. I need anything that's in there. But anyway, on we go.
why did it end?
I hear her.
I think I was targeted.
Hmm.
Like-
Fellow was targeted. I don't know if he was targeted or not. I don't know if anyone's targeted me. Probably be flattered if they would. I probably shouldn't wish that on myself. But, you know, it is what it is. I love the architecture in these old buildings. I love the history. I can feel oozing out of them. This is something that is talked about. Not much scent in that rose. Maybe some of the other ones will bear about scent. Looks like I can get across 15th Street. I put them 6 blocks from home, looking down at the White House, or the not Washington Monument, and I'll be on 6th soon. Be able to see the White House from there, probably. I have enough elevation. Let's see, there's a big old turkey on top of that house over there. Illuminated, inflatable turkey. They're usually pretty good for their decorations, if you like that kind of thing.
So slow. And then I was like, I would have liked to run faster, but I couldn't.
She couldn't run any faster. News on the tube. Okay, what do we got? Anybody talking to me? Alexi, you're back. Good to see you. We're on S Street, Northwest, coming up behind the Masonic Temple. Scottish Rite. It's a pretty impressive building. They just recently built all these residences, and then there's an apartment building back there, probably older. But there's the Masonic Temple back end. So the little library back there. Some residences on the other side, including a rather large apartment building. Something Chastleton or something like that. I forget. Hard for me to remember everything. Oh, quite purplish. The illumination on that side of the Scottish Rite temple. Elicits a desire to visit. Wow, thank you. Maybe you should do a passing show from Moscow, or maybe we should go live together. Do you speak English well? Building like Atlantis. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Oh, this is the front side of it. It's got some interesting sphinxes guarding the steps there. 2 of them. Let's keep on passing on. Pretty elaborate decoration on the doors up above. Just looking up 16th Street and down. That's the White House down there at the very end. Can't really see it. The screen. It's too tiny from this distance. If I was able to zoom in with this device, maybe the Substack team will do that for me. Give me the ability to zoom my video. Folks got some big interior plants there. That little apartment. Never know what you might see, so be careful. Dogs. Dogs.
She's been getting like one day
Very uneven there.
well
I watch it. Coming up on 17th Street. A few hundred yards, I think.
because it's on all day. Yeah.
It's on all day. What am I got for power, eh? 37%. I might make it home on this show. What are you saying there, my friend? Claiming past lives relives the same experience he is head priest and it's the last day of Atlantis. Oh, that's very interesting. Man, that's been a while. You ever read up on Edgar Casey? His center is down in Virginia Beach. I've never gone. What do they call that anyway? Something about the research. ARE, I think is the Advanced Research. I want to say Institute, but that's not it. Anyway, sleeping prophet. He'd go to sleep and he'd be able to read in his trance-like state. This Akashic records right out. I think Laszlo probably has talked about him. It's a historical personage. I mean, it's very hard to explain what was going on there. My friend Sophie sees angels. She wrote a book called The Book of Angels. We were talking recently about her book called The Wonder and Happiness of Being Old. And she is. I think she said she's 87, 88, right in there. And she was heading off to France to visit her sister and on to Egypt, coming back in December. So that's nice. Kind of delightful that at her age she can travel to Egypt. And she's never been there. I expect she's going to have wonderful things to report back on. I emailed her yesterday, I think, because she sent out a notification about an interview that was done with someone about women over 70. And she is 17 years beyond 70. But Sophie wrote the art crowd as a youngster at the tail end of her tenure as a assistant curator at the Smithsonian. Or was it the National Gallery of Art? I forget. She was a Smithsonian. So the American Art Museum. Got on the wrong side of Clement Greenberg, apparently, with that one. Taking the side of the artist probably more than the art critics. Keep on. Keeping on. It's a lovely day. 17th Street gone by. That's New Hampshire Avenue running down to DuPont Circle. Back up towards U Street. Beautiful homes. Mostly broken up into condos. Good solid buildings. Mine's built about 1904. And lots happened in the world since 1904. Teddy Roosevelt was president back about that time, I believe. And did a pretty good job of wrapping up the Russo-Japanese War and doing a lot of other work. Dogs greeting each other. They're stop to make here. Free library. Nothing really jumping out at me off the top. But it happens. I've had Gary Lockman's book on Colin Wilson on the shelf to be read. Jan the Robot, it's called. That's stuck in the 70s, page numbers, and keep sort of going back over that as he's talking about people that I feel like I ought to know and don't know so well. I need to go and look them up and educate myself. Educate. Incarnation studies. I was catching up to, Myron Dial. Myron Dial, why do I know that name? I think I do, but I'm not sure why. And, I was doing a little research on Thomas Campbell. I don't know if you're familiar with Thomas Campbell and his My Big Toe, big theory of everything, which he, like many, has come up with the fact that consciousness, the way in which we process information with our consciousness, when we're conscious, if we're conscious, is really what creates reality. And there are other realities, and you can sort of slip into them and go voyaging out of the body. And that's an interesting thought. It goes back to the work of Robert Monroe of the Monroe Institute in Faber, Virginia. I've been there and done some experimentation. I think my friend Sophie has been involved with them as well, particularly in the idea of distance viewing, if you're familiar with that concept. Alexi, you're a great interlocutor, tell you what. And it makes my walks more interesting when you're a part of them. So, yeah, there's Coast to Coast Angle for a good show with him. Okay, I'll look him up. He's epileptic. Anthony Peake wrote about him. Interesting. Epilepsy's a funny thing that happens with the brain, the firings of the neurons, how to sequence, apparently. And I'm sure there's more to it. I've had my own experiences with that. Look at those crimson flowers. Oh my gosh. So beautiful what nature can do, what DNA can do, right? Lost fixed partner. Why am I spacing on his name? But one of the discoverers of DNA just died at the age of 97. Francis Crick and Johnson? Crick and Johnson? Is that right? I can't remember it. Oh, well. It'll come back to me. There'll be notifications. What's interesting is, of course, the attention paid to others is greater than the attention paid to somebody of his stature in the science field. And I think Miss Frick had a lot of really interesting ideas as well. It goes on and on. The way in which they came up with the structure of DNA, double helix. How it works, unzipping and zipping back. I'm really close to home now. This is the Sagamore. That's 19th Street, right? Coming up on that. 20th will be next, and then 21st, on the other side of Florida and Connecticut. Intersection with S, just across from my house. The built-in bookcases. I look back with a feeling of nostalgia. For that which is passed by.
It's a bit of
People are the mainspring. Higher education. Do I have higher education? Of course I have higher education. But anyway, I may not have told my credentials online recently, but I have a master's degree in German from the University of Pittsburgh. My bachelor's was in German from the Randolph-Macon College, good liberal arts school in Ashland, Virginia. Be revisiting my professor there in December of history. He's still around. My German professors have both passed. What else do I want to talk about that? Well, University of Pittsburgh was a good education as well. I did all but PhD work there, all but dissertation in terms of the hours I put in. Was adjunct faculty there and at Carnegie Mellon University in German. In addition, I have a great degree of education in decorative arts conservation and art conservation generally. that I got in Colonial Williamsburg before going back to get my master's degree in German. I think we did talk about that one time, how we used to get together, the Germans and the Slavs. And I was exposed to a lot of other things as well while there. My girlfriend was in the Italian and French department. Good friends in the Slavic department. And we used to pal around a lot. One of my pals was connected to me through the German department's good offices in some ways was Sebastian Thrun and Astro Teller of Google fame and Stanford University. They both ended up out there after cutting their teeth in their PhD programs at Carnegie Mellon University. Sebastian was a professor of robotics, ran Heaven, won the DARPA challenge in 2006 to get a first car to drive itself over the range that DARPA had laid out over the desert. That's now in the Smithsonian American History Museum. It's called Stanley, and it's a Volkswagen Touareg with LiDAR all over it, and is the forebearer of Waymo. Astro, of course, was instrumental in Waymo getting off the ground as a self-driving taxi service already operational in San Francisco. He heads up as the captain of the moonshot division of X, Google X, that is, the Solve for X folks. And taking a certification course with him at the moment. It's in progress. Now, what else as far as higher education? Oh, I hold a certificate from Carnegie Mellon University in enterprise architecture, as well as a TOGAF certification from the Open Group. Still maintain that. So yeah, I've got some higher education in a lot of fields. Not one trick pony by any stretch of the imagination. A fairly deep knowledge of Italy as well. And on it goes. Irrevocably. Okay. Well, I haven't finished my study of anything because it's a continual education project that we're on here. I'm awfully tempted to duck in to be sure to go on and have dinner. Well, French restaurant. It's really good. Even if I can get orders to go. But no, I'm right now. I don't need to look up that way, cross here, 45, 13, 12. Pick up my pace. That's 7 seconds, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And they're going to get to roll right about now. Nope. Get me out of the way. Done. All right. So yeah, the car by Moldovan Embassy parking spots. Good for a Sunday. And then there's little free library of the Romanians of DC. Somebody nearby smoking weed. Smell that on the air. Not at all unusual. And up we go. I have done my walking for the day. I tell you what, swing back around. Embassy of Albania across the way. An architect friend worked on the interior of that when it was owned by a lady with Texas oil money. It's too strong. Somebody blowing their pot smoke out the window, I guess. or they're smoking behind the embassy. I can't really tell where it's coming from. Beautiful buildings. My door. Back into the bunker. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And we may do some live from interior later. I don't know. Not sure what I'm going to do. But I've been having fun doing it. Be the change you want to see in the world. Remember, every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating, and we're out here.